We're starting 97, 2 lines from the bottom. I'm going to start. Stan Rabbanan, Stan Rabbi says, Rishus Rabbim. Someone throws from a public domain to another public domain. And Rishus Yachid Be'emtza. In between these two public domains is a private domain. And how much of the public domain is traveling? It says Dalet Amos. So it travels a combined 4 Amos, and it also goes through Rishus Yachid. It says Chayev. It's Chayev. Achas mi'arba Amos, we're on top of 98. If it goes less than the combination of 4 Amos, then Pater is exempt. I'm going to ask my Kamashmalan, what's the Chiddush over here? I see a lot of Chiddushim. I don't know. The Gemara asks my Kamashmalan. I mean, right off the bat, the Gemara is going to say this, but right off the bat, it went into Rishus Yachid. It traveled into Rishus Yachid. It went out of Rishus Yachid into Rishus Rabbim. It seems like that should be Chayev. Okay. Depends what shita you go with. You don't hold Klut Kamisha. So the Gemara answers that question. We actually have a different Chiddush. We had earlier on Daf Pei that there was Machlekes if someone carries less than a shear into Rishus Rabbim, and then he again goes and he carries less than a shear into a different Rishus Rabbim. Like 2 sides of the house. He carried in this one and he carried out to that one. And each one was less than a shear. Rabbi held that it wasn't mitzdaref. Didn't combine. Each carrying was less than the minimal size that would make him liable for carrying. So, Chiddush over here is that these 2 Amos on each side of the Rishus Yachid combined, they joined together to be a total of 4 Amos. It traveled 4 Amos in Rishus Rabbim, even though they're different Rishus Rabbims. That's Taka Chiddush. Then the Gemara says, it's 2 Gersayis here. Udala Yamin Kluta Kamishancha. If you read it like that, Udala Yaminan. Another Chiddush is that we didn't say that Yechayev for going in and out of the house. Because we don't say Kluta Kamishancha. Kluta means flying. It's not like landing. It means it didn't actually stop in the house. It's only chayev for the Dalet Amos and the Rishus Rabbim. The fact that it went in and out of a house is exempt. There's another version of this Gemara, and you read it like the Bach says. We would say that the 2 Rishus Rabbims combined. Why? Because we say that it didn't stop in the house. That's why it's an explanation why the Rishus Rabbim combined. Why do they combine? Because there was no separation. It didn't stop in the house. It just went from Rishus Rabbim to Rishus Rabbim. What happened in the middle doesn't count. It didn't stop there. Okay. Whichever way you read it, it comes out with the same. You have to say Klut Kamishoncha, you're not chayav for going in and out, and you also say that it combines the 2 sides. Okay, now we get into a interesting sort of Gemara. We switch gears now a little bit. Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, Amar Rav Abba, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav. All this is in the name of Rav. Rav Huna, Amar Rav, we're familiar with. Rav Abba in the name of Rav Huna sometimes. This is Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda. Shmuel Bar Yehuda is saying the name of Rabbi Abba, the name of Rabbi, the name of Rabbi. It says like this: someone carries in Rishus Rabbim that has a roof on it. This would be like mall, these big malls, maybe these train stations in big cities, You can have 600,000 people running all over the place, and but there's a roof. It's a Rosh Hashanah, but it's covered. So the statement in the name of Rav is that if someone carries 4 amas in a Rosh Hashanah with a roof over it, so he's pater. Very interesting. Why? Because it's not similar to the way they carried in the desert. The desert, they didn't have a roof. You can ask me the clouds. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Anyway, it wasn't similar to the Digley Midbar is the banners that they had for for each tribe. The public area was where Moshe Rabbeinu was. Private areas were where they were there, where their tents were. Whatever it was in the public area, it wasn't covered. When it says really, it wasn't covered. But Gullus the Makaris Haven, the wagons were covered. Recently, we had the donations of the wagons. There were 6 wagons that were donated. 2 of them went to Gershon, 2 of them went to Merari, and 4 of them went to Merari to carry the beams. And Kahas didn't get any. So from the 3 sons of Levi, it was divided only amongst 2 of them, and 4 of them went for the beams. Anyway, these wagons, apparently they're covered, at least when the beams are on them. V'amarav Mishum Rav Chia, Rav says in the name of his uncle, Chia, Agalis, the wagons, Tachteyem, underneath them, Beineyem, on the sides of them, or between them rather, Betzideyem, on the sides of them, Shasarabim, all of them are Shasarabim. The problem is that they're covered. According to Rab's earlier statement, Shasarabim that's covered is not really a Rosh Hashanah. He has another statement that the wagons are Rosh Hashanah and they're covered. It's a contradiction in Rav. So the Gemara answers, Kikam Rav Bidarasa. We couldn't get clear what the word Bidarasa means, but it means somewhere in between them, in between the rows, I think. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that word. Bidara. Bidara could mean in a row. Bidarasa. Maybe it's a combined word of some sort. We're talking about in between the rows. Okay, so somehow you set up the beams on top of the wagons, and in between the beams, there it was uncovered. So when Rab said that the Rosh Hashanah, it's talking about in between. That's what the Gemara means. Okay, the Gemara says Mechti. 1 second, we have to analyze how much space is between the beams. Urka da agala kamahaba. What's the length of the wagon? Chamish amas. It's 5 amas. Each wagon is 5 amas. Pusya de keresh kamahaba. What's the width of the beams that are going on the wagons? Amsa upalga. It's an amma and a half. Okay, so kama maisiv. How many amma and a halves can you fit in 5? You can fit 3. Tlasa. 4.5. Right? 1.5, 3, and 4.5. Pashale palgadamsi, you have a half a amma left over. How much is a half a amma? Well, an amma is 6 tvachim. Half an amma would be 3 tvachim. Now, kishadi lumar beini ubeini, when you spread out those 3 tvachim that's remaining, that half an amma between 3 rows of krushim, kilavadam, it's attached. Back to our problem that even if you say that it's just shusarabim because there's rows and in between the rows it's uncovered, it goes straight up. So it doesn't help because it's all considered attached. Let me just clarify. Let me see if I can do this. Just 1 second. I'll just do a little diagram here. Okay. Let's say Can you see what I'm doing? Let's say I have a wagon. Say this is my wagon, 5 amas. And now I put a beam over here. That's an amma and a half. I do another one, an amma and a half. Oops, let's try to get it. And I do another one, an amma and a half wide. So there's less than 3 amas in between there, less than 3 amas in between there. Or anyway, this is considered a covered area. That's the idea. So underneath the wagons, what are you telling me? That there's an area that's uncovered, but it's considered covered for all halachic purposes because it's under 3 tfachim. Okay. Now the Gemara says, sorry, I lose the place when I did that. We are 10 lines from the bottom. Ni sabris krushim aposyayo habimanach lahu. Do you think that krushim were put on their width, on their width? I think that's what it's called. On the am and the half side, achludan manachlu. They're put on their sharp side. Okay. If I can go back to that picture, let me explain. I don't know if I should redo it, but let's just see. Yeah. So let's do undo. And the Gemara is saying that, you see, that keresh was an arm and a half. You see, here's the keresh. The keresh is 10 amas tall, and it's an amma and a half like this, but its width over here, I don't know how to make a width, but its width was only 1 amma. So it's an amma and a half by an amma. Amma and a half this way, 1 amma that way. 1 amma that way. So what the Gemara is going to tell me now is, you don't make it so wide. You put it on its narrow side, right? You do it like that. So it's only 1 amma. Let's see what the Gemara is going to tell me. How many am I going to fit in there if I do it on the amma side? So, kamahami maisiv. So how many do you put down? Again, you have 4 wagons to carry 48 krushim. You're going to need 12 krushim per wagon, right? There's krushim are the beams of the Mishkan. You're going to need 12. You're going to need to pile it up. 4 by 3 or 3 on top of 4. You're going to need to pile this up. So if you're putting it on the amma side, that's going to be a little risky to topple. So, kama havi maisiv, how many would you put there? I definitely wouldn't put 3 rows. The whole thing was 5 amas. It says, well, arba. Why don't you put down 4? And then you have rows of 3 stacked up. So you're stacking it up, an amma and a half on top of an amma and a half on top of an amma and a half, because the width, that side is just an amma. So, but what you have left over on the bottom is pashlu amsa. Well, that's 3 groups. That's pashlu. I have an amma left over on the base. If I'll have 4 rows. In between, I have 3 spots. I have 3 empty spaces. That would give me, if I divide that up, it would be 2 amas, right? Because it's 6. I have 6 tfachim that I can spread out into 3 empty spaces. Would be 2 amas. It's less than 3 tfachim. Kishad lamar ben beni kalavadam. Yeah, let's just do that one more time. So now I'm doing it on an amma by an amma. It's on the, oops. So here I have, we're saying I do 4 of these. It's on the thin side now. So I have an amma left over. So an amma 6 tfachim. So if I would do in between, this should really be an end. I didn't space it properly. But if I would do 2 tfachim there, 2 tfachim in between there, 2 tfachim in between there, that would be my 6 tvachim, my amma remaining, and it's anything under 3 tvachim is considered lavud, is considered attached halachically. Okay. So the Gemara answers this issue the following way: Hani chalaman damar krashim milmatan oivian amma milmailan kanim v'holchim ad ke'etzba. There's a discussion we're going to have on Amud Beis, Machlekes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Nechemia, how the krashim, how they worked. I have any good description here? Try this. It's not going to help. You see, this is the keresh. So according to one opinion, it wasn't straight from bottom to top. It actually, on the top, it actually went to a point. This whole area here wasn't there. It went up to a sharp point, sort of like a wedge, like a door stopper. You know, you put under a door. It comes to a point. So that's 10 amas tall, but it came up to a point on the top. Now, what we're looking to gain over here is that I can get an area of 3 tvachim between krashim that's going to be considered a Rosh Hashanah. Okay, the krashim. I have the krashim, and I put the sharp points on opposite sides. Each keresh is an amma wide, and there's an amma in whatever's in the however many tvachim in the center. But I can automatically get 3 tvachim in between them. Get so close to 6 tvachim at the edge, even if they're close together, because an amma is 6 tvachim. I can get more than that. I can get to 12 tvachim, because they're not full on the top. They're empty on the top because they come to an angle. Okay. The Gemara says it works out well according to the one that holds that it's an amma thick on the bottom. However, when it reaches the top, it's only thick an etzba. It's a finger thick. So then it works out good because I have 2 ammas in between the krashim at the top. And that would mean that this is not a Rosh Hashanah that's roofed, that has a covering over it because it's totally open. But according to the other opinion, I think it's from Nechemia, that holds that they're thick all the way from top to bottom. How are you going to answer this? We've resolved it according to Rabbi Yehuda. How do we answer it according to Rabbi Nechemia? Rav Kana says, Ba'atbi. There's different interpretations there. All these interpretations confuse me. Apparently, the rings of the krashim. I think I should do the diagram. It will probably go quicker. Let's do this. And undo. Apparently, okay, let's do a keresh. No. Here's a keresh. Problem with the keresh is that I don't know how to draw. The problem with the keresh is that there are these rings that are on the that are on it that don't allow it to fit together. So what you do is you do it like this. Put the 2 krashim back to back, and then you put these rings on them over here, which means that now I have to leave a space to get the other ones on. So I really need the full amma in the center. That's what it's saying. And therefore, in the center, I'm going to have the space of an amma. Let me just finish this off so you'll see what we're referring to. And then In other words, instead of leaving space in between, I only have the space right here. I have to do it. Sorry, it's not perfect. That's the idea. So in between here would be an open space. Okay, that's now. Atbi hechamanachlu agabada agala. Where is these rings? It's at the edge of the wagon. Okay. Now the Gemara says, but Rav said, you see, we just explained part between the wagons because I know the beams spread over. They stretched over the sides of the wagon. We explained how on the sides of the wagon, underneath it was not covered. It had open spaces. But what about the wagon? You said underneath the wagon has to have something that's holding, that's to hold the beams up. There must have been a board on the bottom. You put that's like a flat board that all these beams would go on. Marianne says, I'm a shmuel, do you say this? No, the wagon was not actually a board on the bottom. It wasn't the type of wagon that's used to carry stones. It was just a wagon that had beams across. It was really open, and you would put the boards on top of those. So you put the boards on top of the beams on top of the spikes, like rungs that would go across it. Okay. Tanurabanan. Starting a brisa, crushim. Milmata went on top of 98b. The crushim, the beams that were used in the Mishkan, the tabernacle, Milmata neven amma. The bottom of it, the thickness was 1 amma. And Milmailan kalan v'holchem ad ketzba. As they reached the top, they would become the width of a finger. Like we said, was like the angle that you get on a door stopper. Right? It would. Shenema, as it says in the pasuk, you samim al reishay. Samim means it's finished. It means it would go to a point where there wouldn't be, it wouldn't end like that. It would end like that. It means it would be finished on the top. There's nothing left. And I have another pasuk that says tamu, the word tamu, and over there it means that it was finished. Over there's the waters of the Yarden. One side stood up like a wall. The ones lower down were finished. They just ran down and they were gone. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda. That's what Rabbi Yehuda holds. So Rabbi Yehuda is the opinion that says that it comes to a point on the top. Rabbi Nechemia says, "Kshem shemel matan evinama, kachmal mailan evinama." Just like the bottom is thick 1 amma, so to the top is thick 1 amma. As you can remember this, the nun of Nechemia is like a board that has it's in the first letter. So on the top it has a thickness, and on the bottom it also has a thickness. But the Yud of Yehuda is just a point. So Yehuda's opinion is it goes to a point, and the nun is that it's thick on the bottom and the top. That's if you want to remember this. Okay, so Shinamar, as it says, Yachtov, together. Okay, Yachtov means that it's equal all the way through. Whereas, but according to Rabbi Nechemia Vaksif Tamim, what about the fact that it says that it's finished? He learns Tamim different. He doesn't learn it that it's finished. He learns that it has to be complete. Like Tamim. You don't bring different boards and add them together to create this beam. Like you would do, like glued wood together to create these beams. These beams were perfect beams from the beginning, however they took them off the trees. These were real beams. What does Rabbi Yehuda do with the fact that it says that it should be equal? That means that I don't do, when I set up the Mishkan, I don't do 1 in, 1 out. Make maybe some sort of design like that, one in, one out. No, it should be complete that you do it all in one row. It gives us a little complication here. According to the opinion that says that at the same size all the way through, which that's Rabbi Nehemiah's opinion, the end of the Mishkan, which is the west side, you have 6 krashim. 6 beams. 30 amas. You have 20 beams per side. Let's do this just to get a. Let's do this. Sorry, I only know how to do one thing here, so that's what. Let's do this. Now we're doing something else. Let's do a Mishkan. Here's the Mishkan. Here's the Mishkan. This way is, let's see, this way is 30 amas. And this way is 10 amas. Now, what I need is, I really need 6 beams here, 6 krashim here, each one an am and a half, would give me a total of 9 amas. The problem is that I need an extra amma. I need an extra half an amma on each side, on the corners, to make 10. So we're talking about right over here, this corner and this corner. Now, my issue is that if they come up to a point, so all along here, they're coming to a point. All along here, they're coming to a point. All along here, they're coming to a point. And all along here, they're coming to a point. What do I do with my corner piece? How do I come to a point at the corner piece? It's not going to match perfectly. That's what the Gemara is going to describe now. So, Bishlam Lamanda Amar, Even Amma, Misham Matin, Even Am Kachmailan, Even Amma, Haina Dixiv Liarksia Mishkan, Yama, and the end of the Mishkan to the Yama to the west. Tasa Shisha Krashim. You have 6 beams. Shnei Krashim Tasal Mikzais, and you have 2 beams at the end. The Asi Pusya, because the width, Dahani Mimalalu Lasumcha Dahani, will fill up the thickness of the other one. That corner, you see, let me do that. I have a better way of doing this. Let me just show you. What we'll do is, you see, the thickness of this wall right here is 1 amma thick. And of course, this is also an amma thick. Now I have an amma thickness. Oops, no, I didn't want to do that. I have 6 ammas right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another beam. This is 9 ammas. I'm sorry, 6 krashim is 9 ammas. I'm going to put another beam that's an amma and a half. Where am I going to put it? There's only an amma space on each side. No, it's not an amma space on each side. It's half an amma space. It really starts over there. So half an amma, because it's 9. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work. Anyone have a picture in their Gemara that they could share? I'm putting one more beam, that's 2 more beams, that's an amma and a half. Because it's 10 ammas in the center. The 10 ammas is not to the end of the beam. The 10 ammas is in the center. So I have 10 ammas in here. So really it has to look like this. Really, this is right here. This is 9 ammas right there. That's my 9 ammas. 10 ammas in the center. Now over here, I put another beam. Half an amma is here, and 1 amma fills up the width of that wall. And another an amma and a half beam right here. So it's perfect if it goes straight up to the top. That's my idea. If it goes straight up to the top, then it matches perfectly. This is an amma and a half beam, and this is an amma and a half beam. This wall is 1 amma, so it will fit in, match in perfectly. Okay, however, the other way, according to the one, if it doesn't come to if it's not a square on the top, it comes to a point. So then how do I fit the corner points? It's not gonna, one is a point reaches here, and another one, the point doesn't match up to it, because there's going to be a space between the points. It's not going to reach on the top to fill it in. The Gemara answers, the shafila kiturin. The point on the corners was not the same sort of point that there was on the other beams. You rounded out the tops of the beams so that it should look like a mountain. It comes up at a point in the center. They arranged that it should be chiseled out to match up. This is the center pole. It was the center. I drew the rings on the Krashim, but that was the top and the bottom ring. The center one went straight through, turned around, and then went to, then came out the other, came all the way back. So it went all around. How long would it have been? It's 30 ammas by 10 ammas by 30, again, 30 ammas back. So that's 70 ammas long, this beam. It turned as it went around. Yeah, it's hard to imagine how this works. Yitzi Kasovitz has a model of Lego, the Mishkan. And when you try to build it, you see the issue. He has actually a bent beam that you have to try to fit through, and it gets complicated. How do you get this beam through? How do you get it through? Well, you put the back on, and then you bend the sides, and then you slide the wall in. That would be the way to do it. You slide the back wall to the center, then you bend it, and then you slide the wall straight through. But apparently the Gemara didn't do that. The Gemara doesn't understand it like that. It says Tana b'nei Seyayim, there was a miracle how it went through. I guess they first had to build it. That's why, and then you slide it through. That would be impossible unless it's a miracle. Okay, Besa Mishkan Tasa Esa Yiriyas. You make 10 cloths. How do you do the cloths? We're talking about tapestries that are on the roof of the Mishkan. The length of each one is 28 ammas. And 28 ammas. And it's I think there were 40, there were each one was 4 amas wide. You sewed 5 together. 4 times 5 would be 20. You sewed the other 5 together. That would be another 20. So it was wide. It ended up being wide 40 amas, but each one as an individual was just a strip of 28 amas. So it goes like this. Shadi Yerchayu, you put the length, apusi the Mishkan over the Mishkan. Kamahavin, how much is that? Esther Vitami, so it's 28. 28 amas going over a 10 amas Mishkan. Dal Esel Igra. You drop 10 because that's the roof. Now, what do you have afterwards? You have 18. 18 would be 9 on each side. Pashalu Tesla Haigisa v'Tesla Haigisa. You have it hanging down 9 on each side. The Rabbi Yehuda Migla Amada Adanim. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it drops down exactly 9 amas, which reveals the sockets on the bottom. There were sockets that were 1 amas. So the beams, the actual beams are totally covered, 9 amas on each side. And the sockets are exposed. Rabbi Nechemia Migla Amad Dekrashim. According to Rabbi Nechemia, it exposes more than just that. Because if you remember, the tops of the beams were thick, an amma. So 9 to each side doesn't mean that it drops down 9. First, I have to use 1 amma of those 9 to the thickness of the beam on the top. Then it drops down 8 amas. So that means only 8 amas if the beam was covered. 1 amma is Adanim. Another amma is of the Krashim themselves. Big difference on how much of the wall was covered by this lower, this inner Mishkan. The first covering was called the Mishkan. Okay. Shadi Pasyayu La'arka, the Mishkan. Then you put the width of it along the length of the Mishkan. 28 amas in one way. In the other way, Kamahave, how big is that? Arboan, it was 40 amas. How big was the Mishkan? The Mishkan was 30 amas. So Dal Tlas and Legra, you drop 30 amas, you remove 30 amas because that covers the roof. Pashalu Yud, easy, you have 10 left over. Rabbi Yehuda Mechasin Amad Adanim. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it actually covers. It covers the Adanim. Because there's no thickness to the wall on the top. It's not taking into account the slope, that you lose a little bit because of the slope. It's interesting. Right? You have to lose something on the diagonal. Right? It's what is that? The hypotenuse has to use up some of the extended on the bottom. It's not taking that into account. So Dalt lesson Pashli Yud Rabbi Yehuda Mechasia Amada Adanim. Rabbi Nechemia Megalia Amada Adanim. According to Rabbi Nechemia, the amma of the Adanim is actually exposed. Why? Because I need an extra amma for the width on the top. So it's really 31 on the top. It goes down, it hangs down only 9. It exposes those sockets on the bottom. Now Vasisi season of the oil. Now that it says that I make urea season, this is another covering that went over the Mishkan, which is goat skins. Here it says, the second one was not 28 amas long. It was 30 amas. So Shadi Yerchai Lepusi the Mishkan, you put the length over the width of the Mishkan. Kamahava, how much is that? Tlasim was 30 amas long. So Dal Eseligra. Again, you remove 10 for the roof. Pashalu Esela Haigisa Vesela Haigisa. I have 10 left over for each side. So easy. The Rabbi Yehuda Mechasia Amada Adanim. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it goes down all the way to the bottom and it covers the Adanim because it's 10 amas. Well, 10 amas for each side. Rabbi Nechemia Megalia Amada Adanim. According to Rabbi Nechemia, where the thickness of the beam on the top is is a amma. I really don't have 10 amas to hang down. I really only have 9 amas to hang down on each side. Oh, really? I have to take up 2 amas. Yeah, well, it would be 9 amas per side, because it would be 18 left over. So, okay. Tanya Nami Hachi was also taught in a brisa. Va'ama mizeh ba'idef l'chases ama shaladanim div Rabbi Yehuda. Va'ama mizeh ba'idef is talking about which one is that? Is that the oil? Yeah, this is in the length. There's an extra amma on each side, because now instead of being 28 ammas, it's 30 ammas. What happens here? It's to cover the amma of the Adanim, which the last one didn't cover. The bottom one was the tapestries. When you walked into the Mishkan, you looked up, you saw the tapestries. But above that, there was the skins of the goat. So you didn't see that when you were inside. But on the outside, it was covering 1 amma further than the tapestries. So in that, it says, Ba'idef, it says, the pasuk concludes, L'chaseise, to cover it. What's it referring to? To cover the amma of the Adanim, the Rabbi Yehuda. It's actually covering not the Adanim. It's only covering the extra exposed amma of the actual Krashim that was exposed on the first covering of the Mishkan. Now the Gemara says, Shadi pusyayu la'arkan the Mishkan. Put the length of this goat skins across the length of the Mishkan. How big was it? Kama havya? It was arbaim ba'arba. It was 44. Why was it 44? Because it was made from 11, not from 10. It was 11 pieces of goat skins that were combined together. Each one was 4 amas wide. So dal tlas and leigra. Remove 30 that covers the roof. Pashlo arbasreya had 14 left over. Dal tarti lakafla. 2 of those 14 is in the front at the entrance to the Mishkan. I let it hang down a little bit in the front. So it was like a little lip that it came down. And the chafaltes, the chafaltes, the yiriyah shishis, a mupne ayel, that extra one, that 6 one, because it was maybe 5 by 6 pieces that were put together. So the extra one would hang down 2 amas in the front. Pashlu tartishe, I have 12 left over. I have 14 left over. I take away 2. That hangs in the front. I have 12 left over to hang in the back. According to Rabbi Yehuda, says that half a urea means 2 amas. Hangs down in the back. Because the whole keresh in the back is 10 amas tall, plus an extra 2, so it hangs down. And it hangs down, and then it goes, it's like dragging, sort of, like in the back. Ela Rab Nechemya, but according to Rab Nechemya, Mait Yisrach, what does it mean that it's half of it is hanging down? It's like dragging in the back. It's really not half of it, because it's only 1 tefach that's really hanging in the back, because he needs an extra amma. For him to get down takes 11 amas, because he has the width of the top of the beam plus the 10 to get down. So 11, and it's only 1 in the back. It's not half the urea that's hanging down. So he explains, Tisrach bechabrisa. It's not dragging on the floor, but it's overlapping, half of it is overlapping more than the original one was. The original one was only 40. This is 42. Well, it's 44, but 2 are missing in the front. So it's hanging down an extra 2 more than the other one. Tana de Rabbi Yishmael, it's taught in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yishmael, Lama Mishkan Daima. What is the Mishkan similar to? The Isha Shemalachas Bashuk, a woman that's in the marketplace, V'shipula Mahalchan Achara, and her dress is dragging behind her on the ground, like a kala. That's what the Mishkan looks like, where you have the second covering that goes over is like dragging in the back, like the gown of a woman that's walking. Let's leave it over here.